Hello and welcome to Mind Shifters Radio. I'm Tim Hayes. I'm your host for the first hour. And today is Tuesday, February 23rd, 2021. As always, we're grateful to everyone who's joining us here today, whether you're live or in the archives, as we spend another couple of hours teaching and supporting people in using some of the most powerful, effective, efficient, and accessible tools I've encountered in my 46 plus years of doing therapy. These tools are available absolutely free at whyagain.org. If you go to that website and click on the red and white bullseye or the link in the upper left-hand corner of most pages that says Start Here, it'll take you to a page where you can download and read Chapter 24 of Dr. Michael Ryce's book titled, Why Is This Happening to Me Again? That chapter of the book is a narrative description of the core tool in this work. The tool is called the Reality Management Worksheet, sometimes called the Reality Management Wake-Up Sheet. It's a tool that I've been using for over 16 years to improve the quality of my life by managing my emotions and turning every negative emotion into an infallible guide as to how to restore calm, improve my perception, improve my relationships, and also on that web page, you can download the actual tool itself. Just a simple click on a PDF file, download it, print it off, use it as often as you'd like. There's also a list of audio files that you can download, a host of files that can serve as a tutorial because people have called those shows and asked for help in using the worksheet process or asked for clarification about the process itself in one way or another. And those audio files listened to repeatedly can be all one needs to gain mastery with this tool. You can also go to your app store and type in the 3 words HeartLand Aramaic Forgiveness. And before you're done typing the word forgiveness, you'll see the glowing heart icon. Click on that. It'll let you download a completely free and private app that contains the Reality Management Worksheet process, an abbreviated version of that process, and a copy of the Dragon Klingon game, which is a wonderful way to introduce these tools to even younger audiences. And we encourage people to do that soon and often because it's a positive life changer when it's applied to your life, and because if you do that and you have questions, then you can give us a call at 563-999-3581, and we'd be happy to entertain your questions and to do whatever we can to facilitate your understanding of and productive, effective use of these tools. We've also decided to do Course in Miracles lessons this year, and we're on the 54th day of the year, and this is another review lesson today. The review lesson reads, we're reviewing lesson 16 that says, I have no neutral thoughts. The commentary reads, neutral thoughts are impossible because all thoughts have power. They either make a false world or lead me to the real one. But thoughts cannot be without effects. As the world I see arises from my thinking errors, so will the real world arise before my eyes as I let my errors be corrected. My thoughts cannot be neither false nor true. They must be one or the other. What I see shows me which they are. Review number 2 of lesson 17. I see no neutral things. What I see witnesses to what I think. If I did not think, I would not exist because life is thought. Let me look on the world I see as the representation of my own state of mind. I know that my state of mind can change. And so I also know the world I see can change as well. Lesson 18 is, I'm not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I have no private thoughts. I cannot see a private world. Even the mad idea of separation had to be shared before it could form the basis of the world I see. Yet that sharing was a sharing of nothing. I can also call upon my real thoughts, which share everything with everyone. As my thoughts of separation call to the separation thoughts of others, so do my real thoughts awaken the real thoughts in them. And the world my real thoughts show me will dawn on their sight as well as mine. Review of Lesson 19. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am alone in nothing. Everything I think or say or do teaches all the universe. A son of creation cannot think or speak or act in vain. She cannot be alone in anything. It is therefore in your power to change every mind along with yours. For yours is the power of creation. The last review lesson for today, Lesson 20, I am determined to see. Recognizing the shared nature of my thoughts, I am determined to see. I would look upon the witnesses that show me the thinking of the world has been changed. I would behold the proof that what has been done through me has enabled love to replace fear, laughter to replace tears, and abundance to replace loss. I would look upon the real world and let it teach me that my will and the will of the Creator are one. So that's the review lesson, which is lesson number 54 in the Course in Miracles workbook. And we've also agreed to do the Pam Grout book, A Course in Miracles, the Course in Miracles experiment. And her chapter 54 is titled Big Bad Thinking Problem. She quotes Jim Carrey as saying, I have an insane belief in my own ability to manifest things. Pam writes, from the Need to Know section, thoughts have power, or as the Course describes it, there's no such thing as an idle thought. And from the jukebox, Don't Worry, Be Happy by Bobby McFerrin. And from the We Will part of We Will Rock You, she says, my thoughts have no bearing on physical reality. The rock you part is one of the key reasons I accept all invitations to present workshops, or what I call play shops, is because I meet the most amazing people. I hear the most miraculous stories. In Seattle one year, I met a woman who used the principles in E Squared, which is a book Pam wrote, which, like this book, was adapted from the Course in Miracles. She used the principles in E Squared to win one of HGTV's dream homes. Another got front row tickets to a U2 concert, even though it was sold out. At a workshop in Austin, one of the participants told me about the time she casually mentioned, my lawn is out of control. I wish someone would come over and mow it. Not 15 minutes later, she heard a lawnmower outside revving its engine. She looked out her window to see one guy mowing her lawn, another with a weed eater. She had no idea who they were. There was no sign on their truck, no notice of why they had appeared. She never saw them again, but they did a fabulous job executing the very thing she had just requested. Isn't it a fun possibility parentheses, and a guaranteed fact, according to the Course, close parentheses, that everything, healing, every need, could be that incredibly easy? Isn't it a fun possibility that everything could be that incredibly easy? So that's Pam Grout's take on Lesson 54, which is a review lesson. And we are here today to share the next 48 minutes, sharing the airwaves, sharing your thoughts, supporting you in the study of this work or the application of these tools. Area code 610. You're in the air.
Hi, Dr. Tim. It's Tim Bingham.
Is this Tim Bingham?
I'd like to do a worksheet with you. I have as a subject, when I wake up in the morning and I have to go somewhere in the car, I have rather intense anxiety, and I've been doing a worksheet on it, and I seem to be stuck. So I thought I could work on it with you. That would be helpful.
All right. And do you want to just begin at the beginning, or do you want to talk about where you're stuck?
I'd like to start at the beginning. So I say,
okay.
I, Tim, who I'm experiencing love, feel anxiety, and my story, my reality is that when I wake up, I feel anxious about having to drive anywhere. And my thoughts are that I am.
Okay, so let's if we're going to do this worksheet, let's do it the way we recommend people do it, and with support in our support groups. And I want to read every word on the worksheet, because every time I do that, it helps peel back the layers of conditioning from my culture, which make me believe that I'm just a body and that I'm here to do a job and be a good son or whatever. So the worksheet says that reality is any perceptual output constructed by my mind, and forgiveness is the tool for waking up from and changing my reality. Now, why would I want to change my reality? Any time that reality leaves me feeling a negative emotional experience or a negative physical sensation, that would be the prompt indicating me that my reality, that the construction of reality is off the mark. So then it says, the premise here is my essential nature, my human life, my very being is this energy of creation. Some call it love. And the goal of this internal forgiveness process that we call the wake-up sheet or worksheet is to empower me to remove any kind of fear and or hostility from my energy system, so I have the direct experience of my true self, my essence as love, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year long. So then in 1A it says, I, and you'd put your name here, Tim, who am love, right? I am love. I'm not experiencing love. I am this energy of love. And I'm experiencing the emotion of, and here, did you say the word you want to use for your emotion is anxiety?
Yes.
Okay. And you put that in the slot at 1B. And then you put your date on the worksheet, and if you want, you can number it. But then what's the emotional upset level? How intense is your anxiety when you go to drive in the morning?
About 8.
Okay, so put the emotional upset level there at 8. And then we read about how anytime there's fear or hostility in my mind, in my energy system, they come from internal corrupt data, and they indicate my use of sustained incoherence. What is that? That means I'm doing something with a mind process that results in something I don't like, and then I say I want to end it, and I engage the same process that created the problem. So I just keep spinning in a circle. That's sustained incoherence. And I'm using that process of sustained incoherence to build the thing that's upsetting me in my mind. So my denial causes my brain, the actual hard drive, the carbon-based hard drive in my skull, to displace my experience of myself as love, as this creative energy, and tells me the lie that my emotions are caused by someone or something outside of myself. So my story, my reality is, what would you label as 1C? What's the trigger that you think is causing your anxiety?
I have a fear of driving.
Okay, so in this worksheet, do you want to make driving the trigger? Do you want to make yourself the trigger? Do you want to make a thought the trigger? What do you want to put as 1C? What do you think is causing the anxiety?
The thought that I'm a klutz and I'll have trouble driving.
Okay, so do you want to make yourself the target in 1C, or do you want to make the thought the target in 1C?
The thought.
Okay, try that. So the thought, 1C is this thought, and behind the comma you would write that I'm a klutz and I'm going to create a problem when I'm driving.
Right.
Take a breath. There's a little box there that reminds us, if I'm in pain, and I would count anxiety as a pain, as a discomfort, it means my thinking is in error. So read that. And then 1D asks me to specify what my thought is, because the truth is only my thoughts create my emotional upset. The thoughts I'm using to create my anxiety in this worksheet are, now you've already got the thought that I'm a klutz. So what's the thought that creates the anxiety beyond I'm a klutz? I'm going to end up in an accident. I'm going to hurt somebody.
I'm going to
hurt myself. Okay, so put that in 1D. I'm going to end up in an accident.
Okay. In an accident.
And
okay.
Then 1E asks me to specify if I'm aware of any punishment thought.
Not aware of any punishment thoughts.
Okay, so the target in this worksheet is your thought. So
right.
Don't you want that thought to go away? Don't you want it to change?
Yes, I want the thought to go away.
All right, that's your punishment thought.
Who am I punishing? Myself?
No, the thought.
Oh, the thought?
So here in your worksheet it says number 1E, I want to punish 1C. Well, 1C is your thought that you're a klutz.
Yeah.
And you want to punish that thought by you want it to go away. You want to never have that thought again. You want to isolate it.
Right.
That's what you write. My punishment thought is I want that thought to go away. And then you can take a look at whether or not you have a punishment thought for yourself. Are you beating yourself up over this? Are you thinking there's something wrong with me? I'm weak. I should be able to manage my thoughts better.
Yeah,
Are
all
you
of those.
beating yourself up emotionally? Okay, then if it's that kind of thing, in these worksheets, when that happens, I usually write, I'm beating myself up emotionally. That's my punishment thought for myself. I'm ridiculing myself internally or emotionally.
Okay.
And then take a nice deep breath. And then number 2 says, I choose to love truth, and I willingly face and process out all of the dis-ease producing energies for and from all of my relations and my generations, and I willingly go through the physical, mental, and emotional symptoms of healing. And then it says, I surrender and I release myself, my thoughts, my emotions of anxiety, my thought that I'm a klutz, my story that I'm going to get into an accident, my thoughts that I'm never going to get, what did we write in 1D? Oh, yeah, that I'm going to get into an accident.
Yeah.
And my punishment thought that I want this thought to go away. I surrender all of that. I surrender all of the beating myself up. I surrender it to the energy of love. So just take a breath and release all of that to the energy of love. Nice, slow exhale. Just calm down into that. And then number 3 asks me for my desire. What's the goal here based on this thought?
My desire is to go back to being a little boy where I could be taken care of.
Okay, but we want the goal here to be related to the thought that you're a klutz. So how do you want that thought to change?
I want that thought to go away.
All right, we've already said that. That's the punishment thought. But what do we want it to become? We want it to become a thought of my having competence, that I'm strong,
being
that
able to drive competently. I want to be able to drive competently. The thought that I will be able to drive competently.
Okay, but now the actual thing that's written in 1C is what?
The thought that I am a klutz.
Right.
And create
so we want that thought to change.
Driving.
Right, but we want that thought to change, just the I'm a klutz part. Take a breath, soften, slowly exhale down. I want the thought that I'm a klutz to change to I'm strong and competent.
Right.
Or I am smooth and effective. What would be
strong and competent?
Okay.
Good.
Okay. That's the goal that you write in number 3. I want 1C to change from I'm a klutz to I'm strong and competent.
Right.
So write that in number 3.
Okay.
And then on the right side of the worksheet in the column it says, if this thought is the one with the problem, why am I the one with the pain? And then it says, I cancel my need to be right, and I cancel my need to make up another story out of these brain cells, the content in my mind, to hallucinate proof that my fear and my hostility-based story, that my reality is true. So take a breath, put a check mark in that box, slow that exhale down and release the energy as you say, I cancel my need to be right. I cancel my need to make up another story about how I'm right and the world is wrong. And then we'll move to number 4. Number 4 says, I choose love, which is my essence, And as I do that, it stirs the love, the energy of creation in everyone involved. So breathe into that and close your eyes. I often recommend people put their hand over their heart space and just breathe and soften and think of some of the most loving, happy, strong, contented, safe, beautiful times in your life. Any memory that can bring that loving energy, that safe feeling. Breathe into it and strengthen it before we move on. Get a shift in your energy system by focusing on loving thoughts. Calm, peaceful, strong, happy, contented, competent, whatever the memory is where you felt all of those positive attributes. Breathe into it until you feel a shift in your heart space, and then let me know when you're ready to move on.
I can feel like a memory that I had when I was at a workshop in La Jolla. And I remember waking up in the morning and feeling great and looking forward to the day and feeling strong and confident.
Okay, feel that energy rolling in your heart space, and then we'll move on. So step 5 says, when I'm upset, my perception, the pictures showing up in my mind, are built out of corrupt data. Whatever that picture is, it is a limited picture constructed from a maximum of 9 bits of data. During the period of time, there's 10,000 brain cells firing. And so by canceling my goal, that part of my mind that just keeps replicating, just keeps repeating the picture and its insistence that it's right, will collapse. And when it does that, it gives me direct access to the denied and dissociated content of my brain. That part of my brain that's being denied and dissociated always projects and blames others for whatever shows up in its mind's eye. So while I'm holding love, conscious, active, and present, as you just did when you remembered that time at that workshop, breathe into that loving thought, feeling so strong and competent. I hold that present, conscious and active. I now choose to collapse the lies that my mind is telling me by canceling my goal to feeling competent and strong. Breathe into that, say those words, and then write that in 5A. Cancel my goal to think that I'm competent and strong.
Okay.
Did you write that in there?
Yeah.
All right. And now 5B, I'm going to invite something other than my conscious logical mind to do a whole bunch of things, to incline me toward healing, to restore me to this awareness of my newborn essence as love, to heal my denial that I'm the one that's creating this upset, and to heal my capacity to generate the emotion of anxiety. So I'm going to ask for help in doing all those things, and I'm going to ask for help to open a direct, conscious relationship with, and then gently remove the part of my mind that's really creating the anxiety here. So now, close your eyes again, and silently inside your own mind, repeat what I'm going to say out loud. I cancel my need to be right. Keep your breath moving. I cancel my need for anyone or anything to change, including myself. I put my conscious logical mind on the shelf. I specifically cancel my goal in this worksheet for my thoughts to change to one where I am competent and strong. And I ask to be shown the hidden part of my own mind that's actually creating my anxiety here. And just breathe and soften and trust that anything that comes into your mind is going to be part of what you need to see to begin to heal here and move forward. So just breathe and soften. Put yourself in that receptive space where you're sitting back and watching whatever pops up into your mind, and just allow thoughts and images, physical sensations and emotions, just allow them to flow. And you breathe and soften and ask to be shown. And just trust that anything that comes into your mind right now, even if it's a sensation or a piece of a memory or a thought, is part of what you need to see to begin to heal here and move forward. And as you watch these thoughts and images flow, and you gently repeat, I cancel my need to be right, I cancel my need for anyone or anything to change, including myself. I specifically cancel my goal in this worksheet. I put my conscious logical mind on the shelf for now, and I ask to be shown the hidden part of my own mind that's actually creating this anxiety. Just watch. And if any images come up from the past, just notice, how old are you, where are you, who else is there, and what's happening. And keep your breath moving, and stay with that until you feel something shift or fade, or you get an insight, or you just realize it's just going to keep spinning and you're kind of drawing a blank. And whenever one of those three things has happened, then just take a nice, deep, cleansing breath and scan your body and notice what you feel now, whether it's an emotion or a physical sensation. What do you feel most strongly right now?
I feel a tightness in my chest.
Okay. And just breathe and write that in 6A. I feel a tightness in my chest. And with that tightness in your chest, are you aware of any emotional state?
I feel like a little boy being scolded by my father.
Okay. And did you get an image of that when you were 8? Is that one of the images that came up?
Yeah.
And do you remember what the content was that he was scolding you about?
That I'd soiled my underpants.
So make a note of that. In 6B, I see this image of myself getting scolded by my father at age 8. And we ask people, when you get this kind of worksheet, flip it over, even if you've had this image come up before, and write out as many of the details as you can of this memory, of these emotions, of these thoughts. Because even if it's just the smallest detail, sometimes it can be enough to unlock a whole new level of shifting for you. So make notes about whatever details you can remember from this scene. Being 8 years old, being scolded by your dad for soiling your pants. Any detail, a sight, a sound, a visual image, a physical sensation, a smell, an emotion, a thought, some particular detail about where you were in the room, what else was in the room, if you were outdoors, what was within your vision when you were outdoors. Just as many details as you can before we move on.
I was in a dressing room up in the Finger Lakes in New York.
Okay, but we're asking you not to so much report that to us, but to make those notes, write them down, because these are those things that will escape you if you don't write them down, like a dream. When you wake up in the middle of the night, if you roll over, adjust your pillow, go to the bathroom, and come back and then try to write down the dream, it'll be gone. But if you write it down before you do anything else, you capture it before it disappears. And just pay attention to the little details that might be slightly different this time than any other time you've remembered this incident. And let me know when you're done making notes. Try and watch your breath. Make sure you're breathing. How you doing?
Okay, I'm writing.
Okay. Just make sure you keep your breath moving. And get the details down, because the stuck points are often in just little details. And whenever you're done, we'll move on with the rest of the worksheet.
Okay, I'm done.
All right. So the next part of the worksheet says, I now ask to be shown a time when I have not fulfilled thinking of myself as strong and competent. So just breathe into this and see if some other images come up when you actually did have competence and strength, but your judgment or your negative thought about yourself came to mind and it impaired your functioning. Just throw it out to the universe to show you times when you have used your thought to create a sense of yourself as less than competent in direct opposition to the truth.
I don't understand what I'm supposed to write
Just make the
there.
statement. But you don't have to write anything there except, I ask to be shown a time when I have not lived into feeling my competence. Just write that. I ask to be shown a time when I have not lived into feeling my competence. And this just opens it up as you move forward for other memories or incidents to come up that would be a good target for worksheets. And you can do further worksheets on those in the future if those images pop up. Did you write that?
I've written down, I've asked to be shown a time when I have not lived as myself as strength and competent.
Good enough. And just take a breath and welcome anything that comes up. now or in the next day or two where you have a flash of a time when your thoughts blocked you from just taking a competent action and moving forward. And then you can do another worksheet on that if you choose to. All right?
Yep.
All right, and number 7 says, a principle of the universe is that by giving, I first get the original. So, I'm grateful for this opportunity to heal, and this opportunity is, in your case, it's the recurring negative thought that I'm a klutz and that my driving is going to cause an accident and that I'm not safe to drive. Well, that recurring negative thought is an opportunity to heal, to remove some negative energy, traumatic energy, emotions, negative thought patterns from my system, and I am going to choose gratitude for this opportunity to heal. I'm going to choose to learn what's actually true, capital T, truth. I'm going to choose to focus on perfect love. I'm going to reset the filters in my mind over intention and perception to love. And then, based on what was happening in this worksheet, I'm going to structure a truly loving goal that I will do towards this thought and towards myself. And in these, we recommend make it be time limited, make it be specific, make it be something you can accomplish in your next waking period so as not to create unresolvable stress. And in this case, it would probably be, I'm going to agree to do 1 or 2 more worksheets on that memory of being scolded by my dad when I was 8.
Okay. I can do that.
Yep, you can easily do that. You've done plenty of worksheets. Now take a breath and scan your body and notice how you're feeling. And then there's a little draw your feelings now box, and it says, I commit to love, to living a human life, and to do that, to help achieve this, I'm going to do a mass canceling of all the times I've ever wanted myself or anybody else to live into that thought of competence, right? Whatever the goal is in number 3. So take one of those nice clearing, cleansing breaths where you hold the breath at the top and then slow the exhale down. And say, I do a mass canceling of all the times I've wanted this goal from anyone in my life. And if you've wanted that from a son or a daughter, if you've wanted that from your father, if you've wanted that from a friend, if you'd wanted that from a spouse, just cancel this mass canceling of any time in the past that you've wanted that from anyone.
What would that? I don't understand that. As if the 3 is I'm strong and confident, I want to cancel all the times when I have
that you've wanted to be strong and competent, or you've wanted somebody else to be strong and competent and they didn't.
So all the times when I cancel the goal,
No, all of the times when I have wanted somebody, I'm going to cancel all of the times I've wanted that from somebody and they didn't live up to it. I'm going to cancel my desire, my goal, for anybody to be strong and competent. Does that make sense?
No. I'm
okay.
stuck.
Well, don't be stuck. Take a breath and soften. There's nothing to be stuck about here. It's a very simple thing. I simply make the statement, I cancel any goal I've had for myself or anybody else to be competent or to think they were competent. Just do that much and watch what you feel. Watch what you notice internally. What happens when you do that?
I feel blank.
All right, that's fine. Now, take a breath, scan your body, and notice what your emotional state is. Are you feeling anxious right now? Are you feeling confused? Are you feeling blank? Are you feeling tense? Are you feeling angry? What would your intensity of upset level be? If it wasn't 0, if you're not completely calm, what would your upset level be?
Like a 2 or a 3.
Okay, put that in the space there where it asks what your upset level is. And now you are in a different state and you've accessed some part of your mind that says, you know what, I've still got some stuff that's going on with that incident when I was 8 years old and getting triggered to upset by my dad reprimanding me or scolding me. So I'm going to be willing to go do some more worksheets on that.
Yeah.
And what you might want to do, instead of just doing the worksheets on it, is you might want to say, all right, I'm going to do a visualization where I see myself as the competent adult that I am today, walking into that scene and comforting my 8-year-old self. And do a little visualization where you connect with your 8-year-old self and you comfort him. And you let him know this is no big deal. You're him all grown up. You made it into life. You made it into the law school. You made it into having a family with your own kids that have grown. And so you connect with that 8-year-old self who's pretty much stuck there feeling horrible about his soiled pants. Right?
Right.
And
Yeah,
then the
do
next
that.
thing, yeah, you can absolutely can. And the next thing is we want you to have some connection to how old was your father when you were 8?
Probably 40.
Okay. So here's another thing you can do. You can do a worksheet as though you were your father scolding you when you were 8 years old. You could do 2 or 3, right? You could have one where your father's emotion is anger or frustration, right? And the thought with if his emotion was anger or frustration, the thought might be, you know, my son should know better than this. You could do one where your father's emotion was sadness or fear. If it was sadness, he might be thinking, I feel badly that I haven't raised him better, that I didn't teach him about his toileting habits. If it's fear, it might be that your father has a thought like, oh my gosh, is he ever going to be able to, you know, have good hygiene, you know, toilet train himself? So if you go through those worksheets where you're looking at the situation when you were 8 years old through the eyes of your father, you can get even more done on this. Does that make sense?
How do I start that worksheet?
What's your father's first name?
Jonathan.
I, Jonathan, who am love, am feeling
I see.
sadness.
I see. It was
And
anger.
And it doesn't matter. I could do sadness, I could do anger, I could do fear. I outlined 3 of them that you could do that all make very good sense for a 40-year-old who has discovered that his son was hiding the fact that he had soiled underwear. Right?
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
he was expressing this energy that you interpreted as anger, but the anger might have been there to shield him from his fear or his own sadness or his own sense of inadequacy as a father. We don't know, but what we want you to do is explore all of those.
Okay.
And then you just work through it just like we worked through this worksheet. You could help, Susan could help you, somebody in your groups could help you. Those are, a whole series of good worksheets you could do. Let me give you an example of how powerful this is. I did a worksheet, it'll be a week ago tomorrow, where I had a goal for somebody in my life today to appreciate all that I've done for them and for them to like me. And when I canceled that thought and that goal, I flashed on a time when I was 3 years old, interacting with my father. Immediately after that, he was like rejecting me, pushing me away. He was like in terror of me as a 3-year-old, which didn't make any sense to me. Immediately after that, I flashed on a scene when I was 21. I had just come home from college, and I asked him if he wanted to. I had been studying and learning about hypnosis and self-hypnosis, and I asked him if he wanted me to show him, and he took several steps back and threw his arms up and said, "No, get away from me." Well, I didn't know how to handle that when I was 21 years old, and so that gave me even more intense insight into how shocking it was to my system to be 3 years old and have him react like that. The next thing I flashed on was when I was 21 years old, just a few months earlier than the situation with my dad, and I was at college, and a psych prof accused me of something that I didn't do, accused me of being a spy against him, and I broke down crying, and I asked him through my tears, "What do you want from me?" Because I'd basically given this psych prof 2 years of my life. And in the worksheet process last week, I saw the connection between those 3 events. My 3-year-old self with my father, who was scared and rejecting me, my father at 21 who was scared and rejecting me, and my psych prof at 21 who was accusing me of not loving him or not supporting him. So then what I did before I quit my processing is I visualized myself as the adult walking back into the scene with my 3-year-old self, comforting my 3-year-old self, and then I visualized the 2 of us joining with the 21-year-old who was crying in front of his psych prof and letting him know he wasn't crying about himself at 21. He was crying the 3-year-old's tears. He was in hurt and confusion from age 3. Then we took the 3 of us in the visualization to comfort my dad. And here's where I had the realization. My dad was probably between 30 and 33 years old when I was 3. That means my dad was half my current age. And my dad was in some kind of terror or grief. We don't know exactly what it was. So I visualized in that setting that we, the 3 of us, my 3-year-old self, my 21-year-old self, and I, were there to comfort my 30-year-old father and to visualize doing the EFT tapping on my father for his fear or his grief or whatever. And that was a significant shift for me last week. to see the connection
Wow.
between the three incidents, and to be able to see my father when I was 3 years old as just doing the best he could and scared out of his wits and or grieving and scared. And that's the kind of thing that we invite people to do when we say, go back and do a worksheet as though you are your father who was scolding you for soiling your pants at age 8. Or maybe he was scolding you for hiding the soiled pants when you were age 8. We don't know. But it's the kind of willingness to go back and see, what have I made these events in my past mean, and how can I change those meanings so that they impact my life differently today? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think he was probably upset that I was that old and hadn't learned good hygiene, and somehow that frightened him because he came across as very angry. So
right. So we know if there's anger coming out of somebody, we know they were either in pain or fear.
Yeah.
That's how human
Probably
beings
fear.
come to anger. They come to it through pain
Probably
or fear. Right.
Yeah.
So
fear.
rather than think about it, we invite you to do the worksheets where you cancel the thinking mind and all those processes, and you invite something from a higher level to show you what you can't see with your conscious logical mind. So I hope that's a good place to stop because we've run out of time. But if you'll stick around, if you've got more comments or questions, I'm sure Jeannie and Michael would be happy to help you with another worksheet or framing it out. But I thank you for the call and spending the hour with us, or the better part of the hour. Blessings. I will mute you so we can do our transition.
Okay.
So I'll remind us all that we come from love. We're made of this stuff we call love. We actually are love, the energy of creation, and everything else is false. Welcome, Jeannie Ryce.
Thank you, Dr. Tim. Excellent, excellent worksheet. Congratulations, Tim Bingham. So.